Good afternoon. It's Monday, November the 11th, and this is The Drill. Thank you. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today, because I'm the only one who makes the presumption for the status quo. I'm one of the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers, an honorably discharged Desert Storm Air Force veteran with an associate's degree and a registered independent. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today I'm going to point out that the only way that human beings will be rid of weapons of mass destruction, nuclear, biological, and chemical, is when they become obsolete. That any victory in this society claimed by the left came about by default, and that life isn't lived in a vacuum. All that when I come back. Thank you. Throughout history, various weapon systems have come and gone. One weapon system replaced by another. For over 60 years now, we've been living with a weapon system that could be and should be made obsolete. Part of the political platform of the true conservative is the desire that the executive branch of the federal government should actively pursue the replacement of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons with weapon systems that will be the equal of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons in protection without the obvious drawbacks, such as nuclear fallout. Simply demanding nuclear, biological, and chemical disarmament is ridiculous, and the executive branch should offer a significant reward for anybody that can come up with a weapon system that makes nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons obsolete. When I come back, I'll point out that any so-called left-wing victory came about by default. Thank you very much. Welcome back. All so-called victories by the left in our society came about by default. That is the way the left works. They don't convince people that their way is best. They simply bully and intimidate their opposition into silence or acquiescence. The perfect example is the legalization of the recreational use of marijuana. 8 states have legalized dope. None of these legalizations have come about because the residents of the states in question have been convinced through rational argument that legalization is necessary. No obvious case for change has been demonstrated. The left uses tactics and techniques to wear down the opposition. It's not unlike a small child that keeps screaming, "Please, Mommy," until Mommy relents and lets the child have its way. The way to fight this is through awareness and resolution. Be aware of the left-wing techniques and be resolute in standing firm against them. No means no. When I come back, I'll point out that life isn't lived in a vacuum. Thank you very much. Welcome back. One of the techniques used by the left to get its way is to consider ideas in a vacuum without considering the history of the idea or the history of the particular problem. They will ask the question, what should we do about X? For instance, homelessness. The right response to that question is, what are we doing about homelessness now? And what's wrong with it? This is the right answer for 2 reasons. 1, because it puts the burden of proof where it belongs, on those that are demanding change. And 2, because it demands evidence and proof. Back in a minute. Thank you very much. In conclusion, I pointed out that nuclear weapons should be made obsolete, that the left backs into its victories, and that life isn't lived in a vacuum. Who is the true conservative? He is the person that understands that conservatism is not just about politics, but culture as well. He is not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He is patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with absolute certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He is open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential. Not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he's better than the socialist. He's a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you are wasting your time. And that brings me to the conclusion of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. True conservatives know that nothing is inevitable. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.